ladies and gentlemen, let's go to the last SmackDown of November 29th, 2019. Now we're wrapping up this year quickly as possible, so let's do it to it. And I gotta stop stealing slogans. So we have the obvious world champion. It's not Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns isn't the world champion. It's still Bray Wyatt, and he just wow. There's more to deal with this. Thinks this is gonna be a late review, but still. We thought they were really going to continue their feud come TLC, but you'll know what's going to happen just in a minute. And it opened up a Baron Corbin continuing over their little feud they're having with Roman Reigns in Survivor Series after the little dissolution of Roman Reigns hitting a spear and causing Baron Corbin and King Corbin to get pinned back in the Survivor Series match. So then, until then, we have Robert Roode to face off against Roman Reigns in an average match. It ended in a DQ. I mean, it ended in a decent match. It ends off a spear, off failing to use the scepter. Glorious DDT gets a near fall. Reversal off a Samoan drop. Blockbuster off the top. This is like the same damn moves. Roman Reigns builds up to get his comeback. Robert Roode shows a bit of his moveset. And it's like, that's cool and all. We don't know why in the fuck these guys had to wrestle. I don't even know what associates Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler to be with the King of the Ring winner. When this dude barely got anything other than being shuffled by The Rock and Becky Lynch. And then getting 50-50 booking with the guy that he beat in the tournament to begin with out of Shorty G. It's still a stupid-ass name. I don't know what's wrong with just calling yourself Chad or just Gable. I think the most notable part of your name is Gable. And you could have just kept the slogan and made yourself an underdog. As well as Ali, I don't know what was the point of this, other than for technically an obvious failed graphic segment involving Robert Roode failing to attack Roman Reigns with his head on the chair with the scepter, obviously misses. Because if he was trying to actually use the scepter, he could have just attacked him while he was on the fucking canvas. So, excuse my language, but still, by God. Trying really hard not to cuss, but by God, the show. Then we had a promo involving Bray Wyatt calling out Danial Bryan to play one more time after what happened last week. With him showing various edits of himself looking dumb with the Universal Championship, then showing up a belt that looks like a ripped off demonic condom with a strap. And people think that's going to be the new belt, but he comes up the next week still with the regular Universal Blue Laffy Taffy fucking Universal title. With him welcoming Danial Bryan into the Firefly Funhouse. And then the New Day issuing an open challenge later in the show for their tag titles for a title defense. Then we had Ali face off against Drew Gulak in a good match. It was an average 15-minute match, 18 minutes. We finally got Drew Gulak to actually do some technical wrestling for once. It ends up the 450 splash. We knew Ali was going to win because Drew Gulak, since becoming Cruiserweight Champion, beating guys like Tony Nese. I think he beaten Grandmaster League, beating some guys from 205 Live, even Mike Bennett, to just jobbing out to Mustafa Ali and getting beaten the shit out of by Braun Strowman. So it comes into stuff like this that makes it really amazing how too many belts really illegitimize the former champion. You know how many women barely have screen time now? Most of them held on to the SmackDown Women's Championship. We have freaking Carmella, Naomi, Natalya, all former women's champions and barely had any screen time, but Dana Brooke failing to freaking dance while a guitar solo by Elias. That literally happened. Then we had Sasha Banks is starting a feud up with Bayley over addressing the women's locker room after the failure to defeat Team Raw or Team NXT on Survivor Series still interrupting the feud like it really matters, even though it looks like we're going to do this next November. So, other than that, it really didn't bother. This is like a crappy little feud that they want to do to continue off Lacey Evans trying to think after like having uh a 2-month feud with the Raw Women's Champion, the same woman who main evented WrestleMania, into just women writing Bayley. I mean, no, woman writes Sasha Banks, and we know this might be their Sasha Banks will face off against Lacey Evans, and maybe they'll do like whoever wins the go home show before TLC, she'll get a title shot against Bayley for the women's title. I think they'll do something as generic as that, at least to keep Lacey Evans some screen time. While we don't know anybody else except Dana Brooke and Lacey Evans, Bayley, and Sasha Banks. So that's at least enough for us to, know that we have some women, but we have more than you expect. And then we had Nikki Cross facing off against Sonya Deville. And a return of Alexa Bliss, so I'll give it that after Alexa Bliss has been gone for how long to compete. And I gotta tell you one thing. This match was a mess. Sonya Deville doesn't know how to hit up a clothesline. We had Mandy Rose that was trying to intervene, but then misses a bicycle knee to the face. Twisted Bliss occurred. Sasha with Alexa coming out, and it seems like Sonya Deville still loses. When was the last time Sonya won a match in the freaking spring? She hasn't won a match at all. We're not counting tag team victories, like a solo match. Thanks, we know it's Fire to Desire to tag team freaking name. I really don't care. So Bliss won, feel good segment. Nikki Cross been trying to have a solo feud, even though having only one match against Bayley on SmackDown, but that came off to Shayna Baszler intervening because they were trying to build up NXT with Survivor Series. And that was pretty much it for Nikki Cross, so they're back as a tag team. Oh god, I want to cry. Then we had an open challenge involving the New Day facing off against Nakamura and Cesaro in whatever the hell Sami Zayn thinks he's calling this faction. Is he going to call it the Artist Gallery, the Art Gallery of Pain or something? Some generic little generating PG name that you would use for a group for Shaolin Showdown? What in the world was this entire match? This was an alright match. A little splash off from the outside. Biggie obviously tossing Cesaro like it was nothing. This was generic, and it ends off an obvious reversal, trouble in paradise. Kofi wins it for the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, and we completely forgot that the 1/3 of the New Day was world champion for over 6 months. Except Tucker Knight referencing it one time on a random Friday Night SmackDown before, I think, Crown Jewel? So, yeah. We totally forgot that existed. Kofi Kingston having a 6-month reign beating top dudes in the company for the last several months. This was a generic little tag team match. It was cool to see, I think, Nakamura hold the Intercontinental title. Because, of course, we have a new design for it other than the numerous belts that we need to change. The designs of, I feel like the Cruiserweight title looks gay. The United States Championship needs a bit of a change of a design. I don't mind the retro look of the Intercontinental title. I love the oval shaped title if you want to bring that back. I'll be okay with that, just update it a bit. Or the European Championship, that would be nice, because we have a lot of Euro dudes in the WWE right now. We, of course, could bring back the old designs for the tag team championships. The women's title could fucking stay. The 24/7 title should be getting rid of because there's too many belts to begin with. So yeah. Next up, we had Will Bryan play with The Fiend. And it ended up with The Miz trying to give a little bit of an inspirational speech over to Bryan backstage, bringing over the Yes Movement and being like, yo, you're a big You're a big reason for SmackDown. It feels like, oh, this is supposed to be a maturing moment. Miz is trying to actually give Bryan some advice for once. And it ends up with him still, like, staring him like, get the fuck away from me. You, your kids, your family, yeah, that's how it felt. That's how it felt. That's how it felt for, like, Daniel Bryan, like, literally doesn't mess with the Miz at all. Getting with the yes chance and all this stuff, and we know this is gonna get into a random attack because obviously we can't end a feel good segment without any conflict, and it ends up with Bray Wyatt coming from the back, coming from under the ring and grabbing Daniel Bryan, ripping apart what looks like hair or pubic hair. Either way you want to bring it, by God, the segment was stupid. It was a crazy segment. We thought, okay, trying to rip clothes apart, rip off a part of his hair, go ahead, rip off his patented beard. It's just a really dumb, crazy segment. This was a way to axe off Daniel Bryan from the list for next week's SmackDown that he started trying to feud with The Miz. So this was odd, I guess. And that's how we ended up the show. There was only one good match. The rest was work rate fodder. Some of these feuds were one of these matches were completely irrelevant in this case, and I really didn't care about the show. Probably you did, because if you were there, or you do this for a weekly basis. I'm sorry, everybody that reviews this show. SmackDown did nothing to entice me, other than we don't know who's going to be maybe the number one contender for the Universal title. The Intercontinental Championship is still irrelevant, even if they gave it a bit of a change. They gave it a really big change, actually. And, by God, we really don't know what to do with most of our guys. And there's still been a complaint, because Lacey Evans been doing this for the last several months, over the same gimmick she had since NXT. And she still isn't over with it. Because over the start of the year, when she was just randomly giving her entrance and assaulting women, coming around, walking around, then walking back, showing her asinine wrestling style that's mimicry of Charlotte Flair, and just a pretty good wrestling from Daniel Bryan, Ali, Shorty G that wasn't in the show tonight, The Miz that doesn't compete, and people fanficking over whatever the hell the Fiend does. That means it's obviously going to happen. Like, this is the second time they think the Fiend was going to give his own design for the Universal Championship. This isn't the first. This is the second. Just look at IG, look at any other social media page. They'll show you, like, okay, this is not the first time they try to make the Universal title fit the Fiend. That belt looks like it's a fucking girdle. That doesn't look like a championship belt I would wear. And the Baron Corbin feud with Roman Reigns is completely lashed out to just make a babyface against heel dynamic, because we still think Roman Reigns, all because he's a suitable babyface for a really stupid company that obviously doesn't know how to develop factions or any other, like, interesting stuff to make wrestlers have screen time. The basis of we'll tease Rollins as a heel, but we'll always push Roman as the face. And keep Corbin as get the hell out of my TV as heat as possible. Knowing damn well most of these guys cannot tell a story for their lives, and you are king of the ring, why aren't you asking for a title shot? So this was just incredibly stupid. You guys should bring back some GMs. Please do that shit. As terrible as the GMs were for Paige being bland and Kurt Angle being bland, at least they were centers of authority, and they had rhymes and reasons for why you should have a match on Raw or the next pay-per-view. So please, do something. Please, I'm begging you. This show gets a freaking 4 out of 10. I do not like this show at all. Thank you for watching. Join the DST show. Subscribe, like, and comment down below. Bars. Oh, God. And thank you for watching.